and welcome to the Book Bunch. My name is Sam. It is so great to have you guys here for another video. So today I've got two fantasy and then two sci-fi to share with you guys. I had a really good reading week, so I'm hoping you guys enjoyed these as much as I did. All of them are clean except for one, but I'm still going to recommend the one that's unclean because it was still really good, and some people will be okay with it and some people won't, so I'm still going to put it out there. But to start off, we're going to talk about Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is a Chinese mythology fantasy retelling, which I love these kind of things. Like the whole, I don't know if it's considered a trope or a subgenre or what, but the whole like Asian mythology retellings and fantasy spin-offs and stuff, love them. Absolutely love them. I just love the cultural difference and just how in-depth some of the stories are. As you guys know, I loved Six Crimson Cranes, so I was super excited when I found out about this book. And if you know of any others of a similar vein, please let me know in the comments below, because I would always happily pick up another one in this vein. So what was this one about? Daughter of the Moon Goddess is about this girl who is, she has grown up living on the moon with just her mother and her like nanny that helps look after her and helps look after her mum. And yeah, her father is not in the picture because, yeah, her family was like separated when she was born by an extreme circumstance that came about. I'll say that. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, so she's never got to know her father, but she watches her mother very frequently, I guess, mourn this loss of her husband, and so the main girl's father. But she doesn't know much about it because she doesn't want to ask her mum to explain what happened, because she knows it will cause her added grief and she doesn't want to do that to her mum. But yeah, she grows up. She knows she's immortal. She knows her mum's immortal. She knows she's part of this immortal realm. She knows that her mother is considered the moon goddess to the mortals. And yeah, but she doesn't really know that they're actually trapped on the moon and it's actually their prison, or the mother's prison, until one day the Empress comes and visits with all her guards to the moon goddess, and the moon goddess tells her daughter, like, you need to go hide. They can't know that you're here. They don't know you exist. Then, like, you're not meant to be here. I need you to stay hidden. And so she like hides, and she ends up being able to hear and watch this conversation between this Empress and the moon goddess, and finds out that her mother's actually imprisoned on the moon. And yeah, things aren't as good as they seem. And she ends up having to leave her mother on the moon and flee because the Empress finds out that something is going on. She doesn't know that there is a daughter or anything, but she knows that someone that shouldn't be on the moon is on the moon. And so to protect her, her mother sends her away to what she hopes will be safety. But again, things don't go to plan, and she ends up stranded on like the main celestial in the main celestial kingdom. And it's basically her journey to try and win her mother's freedom. And she becomes a warrior, and there is a love triangle involved, which the one trope I don't like is a love triangle. So it wasn't quite as good as it could have been for me. I would have preferred if there wasn't a love triangle, but that's fine. I know a lot of you guys like that, but still absolutely stellar read. That was literally the only issue I had, is it just has a trope that I don't love. Just because I can't handle when people don't get together that I think should get together. And this had me so on edge that she was going to pick the wrong person. And like you still don't really know how all that ends because it's a duology. So there's a second part to it. And yeah, I need it to be a happy ending. And I don't like, yeah, the love triangle trope. But that's fine. So yeah, definitely worth reading. So interesting. There are dragons, there is magic, there is cool fighting, like a cool fighting style, because they have to like balance using their magic with their fighting and like stuff like that, which is really cool. There is a bit of like political drama in there, but yeah, it's full of so much stuff, and I was very impressed at how much she fit into this story. But definitely recommend Daughter of the Moon Goddess if you like fantasy. And then I read Spellbreaker, another really good fantasy. This one I gave a 5 out of 5. I immediately went and bought book 2, which I'm going to unbox with you guys at the end of this video because I need to know how this duology ends. Oh my goodness. But this book is about, I just said about weird. I like put a pause between a and bout that I shouldn't have. But anyway, I'm getting off track. This book is about this girl who she lives in a world where people can learn magic, but typically it only ends up being the wealthy that can afford to learn the magic, because using magic costs money, and like learning spells costs money, or this like magical currency that you buy with real money essentially. And yeah, she lives in this world where magic is just like a normal thing, but then occasionally there'll be people born with this ability, so it's not learned, it's born, like it's a born talent, where they can break spells. So they can't cast magic, but they can break magic. And if you can do this, you need to be licensed because of the politics around magic wielding and magic breaking. And we follow this one girl who is not licensed, and she's been trying to keep her spell breaking a secret, and she considers herself a Robin Hood figure. So she goes on all these missions which she believes is helping like the poor or the disadvantaged or people who are being mistreated. And so she breaks these spells that she thinks will help people who are in bad situations for whatever reason. And she doesn't really have a family. She lost her family when she was 6, and so she is searching for them because they just left, and she doesn't know who they are or where they went, or why they left her. And yeah, so there's this like this pull to find her own family, and also she gets a bit blinded by some of the people in her life who she feels are her chosen family and that kind of thing. But it's super interesting. There is a love story in there, or at least the makings of a love story, and it's really, really good. It was completely clean, from what I can remember, and I am really interested to, yeah, because there's like Christian-y vibes in here, because I believe this author is a Christian, but yes, I'm really interested to also get the Paper Magician series that they have written, because this was so good, and I love this cover. I just think it's beautiful. Both of these, look at these, like very different vibes, but like very, very visually pleasing to me. Is what I'm gonna say. Okay, then I read a couple of sci-fi. So I read Dead City. This is part of a series. I will probably end up getting the rest of it, but I'm not in a rush, even though this was a 5-star. It is a middle grade, and I've never read a middle grade zombie story before, I don't think. And if I have, it definitely wasn't as good as this one. But yeah, if you like zombies and you like middle grade, or you know someone in that age bracket that would like a zombie story, this is really good. It was completely clean. This is about another girl. What's with all these female main characters? But anyway, she is this like what would you call her? She's like a bit of a nerdy teen, and a bit of a social outcast, but she's not like weird or anything. She's just not a she's not a popular kid. She doesn't like get all friendly with everybody at school and all of that. She tends to keep to herself a little bit. Whereas her sister is popular. But also very intelligent. And they are the children of a prominent forensic scientist who passed away from, I think it was like she had cancer or something, a few years prior to this book. And then the dad, like they live with their dad, who's a paramedic, and yeah, they come from like a brainiac kind of family, and she attends this school on this island. I want to say near Manhattan, but I don't know. New York? Yeah, it must be like Manhattan or somewhere near that. I don't know. I don't know American geography. Um, anyway, so yeah, she attends the school that's on this like island that used to be abandoned. It was like had an asylum on it or something, and it was abandoned. And then this like elite sciencey school bought it and like turned it into this elite college. So every day she like catches this train over to this island on this underground, and she ends up getting sucked into this like zombie fighting secret society of students from this school, because the zombies in this world only exist in like probably like a few 100-kilometer radius, um, and they mostly have to stay underground because the zombies exist because of this specific like rock or mineral or whatever that can only be found in this one area code basically. And so there's a secret society of mostly kids, or yeah, like it's kind of policed by the kids, but then there's like some adults that are involved that are like retired from the secret society, but once you're in it, you're always in it kind of thing. And yeah, they police the zombies because there's not heaps of them. Like there's under 1,500 of them in total or something. And yeah, their job is to police them because a lot of them are fine, like they don't attack humans or anything. They're just trying to live their own zombie life. But because there's like three, this is a really long-winded way to explain this. I'm sorry. This is a terrible explanation. But there's 3 levels of zombies. So there's level 1, which is like virtually human, but they just happen to not have a heartbeat. Then there is level 2, which is they are pretty much the same as level 1, so like they can talk and think on their own and all of that kind of stuff, and they look mostly human, but they don't have a soul. So they're a lot of their decisions tend to be what we would consider morally wrong because they don't have like that conscience, that soul to tell them like, hey, this is going to hurt someone, or this is selfish, or this is whatever. And then there's level 3s, which are just like your classic zombie. I just am aggressive and I'm not very articulate and I just want to attack things that bother me and all the rest of it. And so they more so police these level 3 zombies that get out of control. Whereas the level 1s are mostly kept to themselves. And the level 2s, sometimes they have to police them and sometimes they don't. So it's like kind of a thing. But yes, it's very interesting. I really did like it. The voice of the main character was a lot of fun. She actually reminded me of quite a bit of the main character's voice from The Extraordinary Life of a Cactus. So if you liked that voice or narration style, you'll probably like this. And if you like zombies, it's a good, fun, clean read. I really enjoyed it. And then, sorry, that was a bad explanation. And then finally, I read Day Zero, which is part of the same world as The Sea of Rust, but it's like way further in the past. So this is set before The Sea of Rust. Basically around the time that the human versus robot war started and how humanity got wiped out and all of that. So we're back when humans were around, and we're kind of experiencing that downfall. It, compared to Sea of Rust, like Sea of Rust was completely clean. Day Zero is not, just because there's really extreme language by one character in particular. She's not throughout the whole book, but it's extreme. Like, there is a lot of F words in this book. But if you can get past the swearing, because some people can tolerate it and some people cannot, I still recommend reading it because it was so good, and the ending had me just wrecked. I was so wrecked reading the ending of this book because this writer, he's a really good writer, and I didn't actually know, but he is the co-writer for Doctor Strange, so that's why he's so good at what he does. But yeah, he also is not a Christian, and he I feel like he's maybe a little bit anti-God. So if that bothers you in a book, just be aware of that. It did bristle me a little bit, but I managed to kind of push through it. And it's not through the whole book. There's just little sentences here and there. So it again, depends on your sensibilities. But yes, I did overall enjoy the story, but I couldn't give it a 5-star just because it was not clean. I love these covers though. I think they're so nice. I just love them. But this one is super different. This is actually reminded me a lot of Clara and the Sun. It's like if Clara and the Sun and Sea of Rust had a baby, that's what Day Zero would be. But this is about this here, which is a robot tiger nanny bot thing, and then the little boy that this robot is in charge of. So we follow this, like, from the point of view of this robot, who at the very start, he is enjoying his life. He loves this little boy he looks after. He'd do anything for this little boy. But then one day he finds the box that he came in, and apparently robots shouldn't see that because it kind of messes with their what's the word? Maybe their autonomy, I guess. Like, it kind of sent him into an existential crisis a bit. Like, he was like, is the only reason that I love this boy because I'm programmed to do so? And like, what is my life? And what is this? And like, am I just a slave? And like all of that kind of thing. So it had him thinking about that kind of stuff. But then, like, within hours of him finding his box, the world is plunged into chaos because there was a group of people who weren't happy with a small group of robots that had been given rights, basically, and autonomy, and were set free because their owners had died or whatever. And that these robots were living peacefully in their own little city, and they were just like, hey, like, we'd like just to be treated as we are, because we're thinking beings and stuff. And they weren't causing anybody harm. But then, like, some radical groups were like, no, these robots are bad, and like, if we don't have robots to do our bidding, like, it'll be bad, and they're just a tool, and like all of this kind of thing. So there was a lot of controversy, and the government was like outwardly pretending that they were in support of the robot rights, but really they were funding the radicalists that weren't okay with it, because like a lot of their society relied on the robots doing what the robots do, and if the robots were set free, they wouldn't necessarily want to do those things anymore. And so yeah, it was very political actually in the beginning, but as you get more into the story, all of the author's obvious viewpoints on things disappeared, because the story became about this robot tiger trying to protect this little boy from basically every other being in existence, because whether human or robot, they all seem to want to kill either little boy or him. So they kind of went on the run to try and find safety. And he had been released from his conditions of like the robot laws of like you can't harm a human and all of that kind of thing. So he had been given back his free will, but he was still choosing to look after this boy and love this boy. And it was like, I don't know, there's a lot of deep conversation for a robot, which is why it reminded me of Clara and the Sun, because that had very similar vibes. But I really enjoyed it. Went in a completely different direction to what I had thought based on the beginning. The like latter probably 2/3 of the book were exceptionally good and almost completely clean. Like there was the occasional swear word, but it was like it was probably on par with Sea of Rust, whereas it's just that first third that was really full on. So yeah, it kind of just depends if you can push through that first third or not, but I really liked it. I do recommend it. And then finally, just because I've got them here and I'm impatient, I don't want to wait for another book haul, I'm going to do a mini book haul with you guys, because I've been sent a package. And also I had a couple of books come in. So I'll leave the package I was sent to last, but let's open these ones together. So, as I said, I got book 2 of Spellbreaker, which is Spellmaker. Again, stunning cover. I think these two books are beautiful and look so good together, but that's just me. I love the yellow with the blue. I think that looks so good. It's not quite even a yellow, it's more like a goldy color. But yeah, and then this one, I'm gonna read this immediately, so you'll probably see it in the next video. And then another one I'm incredibly excited to jump in to, because it has arrived. Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England from Brandon Sanderson. I'm super excited about this. I'm really hoping this is clean. But we will find out together, because I will dive into this very soon as well. I love all these new covers that he's coming out with. They're so cool. And then I've been sent a package by an author named Joshua Hershey. And he reached out to me by email, because I have an email below if you would like to reach out to me. And he, hopefully I can open this without scissors. He sent this to me to just do an honest review. So I'm really excited to do that for you guys. Trying to open packages is not my forte. I need to build up muscles. Okay, let's have a look, guys. So, it is a fantasy, I believe. Here we go. It's called Linden Falls. I'm very curious by this lizard creature with tats and wings and a weird lightning sword. But yes, it won a little award as well, which is really cool. It won the Brew Book Excellence Award. I've never heard of that, but that is really awesome. And yeah, he sent me this to get his name out there and to do an honest review for you guys. his synopsis sounded really awesome, so I'm going to read the blurb to you guys. But I actually am really interested in this. It says, Mabel is a rumored witch whose kingdom belongs to oh my gosh, I cannot speak. Levian, I think it is, the serpent. Her people are enslaved in darkness, but everything changes when Mabel discovers the book that transports her to a world of angels and demons. There she wields swords of fire and faces Tanin, a spirit-infested dragon. Very cool. Mabel sets off to save her people, unaware that she'll find Eva along the way, that mystical lady thrown away in time, and in doing so find herself. Mabel even learns how to break the darkness, but Lavian has different plans. Mabel wants to set her people free, make peace with her past, and start a new life. She wants to be a fighter and protector of the ones she loves. When life becomes a curse, can Mabel end the darkness before destroying herself? It sounds very cool. It sounds very much like maybe a Frank Peretti or something like that. I am super keen. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Mortal Sight, so I'm very excited to give that a read, and very kindly sign that for me. So thank you so much, Joshua. I'm really, really looking forward to it. But yes, so there is that. And yeah, it's received, like, this book has received 5-star reviews before, so I'm super excited to see that. And it won an award, so that's really, really cool. I never even heard of that before, so hopefully it'll be a really good one, and I can I'll give it a read and let you guys know. That's what I was going to say. But yes, that's everything for today. Hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!